Welcome to the Real Deals Real Estate Podcast, where you'll learn about buying and selling homes and how to invest in real estate. Now, here's your host, Donald Torrance of JAVE Real Estate.
Good day, everybody. My name is Donald Torrance. I'm back at you again. I'm an investor out of in Northwest Indiana, Illinois, south suburbs of Illinois. Been investing for 30 years, a little over 30 years. Coming at you with another episode. We got some great information we're going to cover with you all today. Today with me, Henry. Tell them a little bit about yourself.
All right. Well, thank you, Donald. My name is Henry and Demers, and I live actually in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And but all the property that I currently own today is not even in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. It's scattered from Hilton Head to San Antonio, so it's all over the place. But oh, that's my dog. Yeah, just returned. I don't know what the hell she's doing, but it's okay. But I have kind of a diverse portfolio. I have Airbnbs. Hey, just chase her out of here. Yeah. All right. I'll close the door. Sorry. Okay. Problem solved. Sorry about that, Donald. Anyway,
No, you fine.
Airbnb in South Carolina. I have a sober living property in San Antonio, which is near and dear to me. And I own another property in New Orleans, which is a pad split. Very different co-modeled property. And then I have another property in Pensacola, Florida, which is a long-term property. So I've kind of gotten experience across many different lanes. Mostly, I think the lane that's really pulling me is sober living.
Okay.
And I truly do think that, giving back to people is more important than literally a paycheck. And even though the property is making money, and we are sharing some of the fruits from that labor, but it's a bigger thing. It's a much more broader feeling to me personally, helping people coming out of treatment. So
okay. So yeah. You said you have quite a few different states. Why did you leave your local area and branch out?
Really, it was inexperience.
Okay.
We're getting just started in the real estate business, and we belong to a lot of different groups, and property would pop up. We found for instance, this Hilton Head property through a realtor, and we were looking at a vacation home there, and we decided to purchase this place, and then we decided to make it an Airbnb. So again, there was not a whole lot of thought in the exit strategy. Okay. We just bought it and just turned it into an Airbnb. Pensacola was almost the same way. Somebody came to us, it was a wholesaler, and they came to us, hey, we got this deal in Pensacola. It's a brand new house. We were just starting in the sub 2 community with Pace Morby. I don't know if anybody knows that, but so we were excited about it. We bought the place as a sub 2 and then turned it into a long-term rental. So, I mean, it's been more of inexperience, really, because you don't really know where these properties are coming and so forth. Today, we're more focused, and we're looking literally towards what is the exit strategy? Where can we build? Where can we have things that's near and dear to us in the local markets and so forth? So we are, that's what my wife and I are both looking at today.
So when you started, you didn't have an exit strategy. So it sounds like you found your exit strategy now. and that exit strategy sounds like it's going to be more towards sober living. But what drove you to the pad splits and before you actually made that sound decision on sober living?
Donald, it was all driven by money.
Okay. That's
No,
what it
it is, because somebody comes to you and goes, Henry, I got this deal and it's going to make you all this money and blah, 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 and it's the passion of making money, right?
Okay.
And so, the one in the pad split, for instance, I mean, yeah, the returns were phenomenal, but in actuality, it's not all that great. I mean, it's a tough job, and it is a tough keeping the place stable and moving in that direction. So anybody that's listening to this podcast, you really got to be thinking about your exit strategy, and not only that, Donald, we've run into this number of times, is the partners. Your partners are so incredibly important on any property that you buy.
Right.
Because if you don't know your partners and you don't know who or where they're from or what they're doing, their experience, you're going to have a tough time. And we've run into this several times already with partners.
And I can say I started with partners in '95. Partners can actually make you lose every bit of brain cell that you have, because they all are different. You all, if you don't align with each other, you can actually fall apart very quick. You don't know how they manage money. You don't know how they do business. You didn't sit down and have these conversations with them, and it can cause you just stress and keep you up at night. So I'm glad you said that. That's an important thing for people to take away from this.
Huge. It really is. I mean, our San Antonio property, it's a sober living. There were 5 of us that started that property, right? And the first 2 guys jumped right out first month.
Wow.
They just washed their hands up. We can't do this. And I'm going, I don't even know these 2 guys yet, and already they're jumping. And so it's been a painful experience with that sober living. Now we have, it's just myself now and one other person.
Okay.
And she's doing a really good job down there. And trust me, Donald, I prayed. Oh my goodness, I may have prayed. Because there was two of them, and they weren't getting along, and I didn't know if who do I tell to go away, or
Right.
those hard conversations to have. And they're difficult because they're equity partners. I mean, it's hard to make those conversations. Well,
Right.
God kind of answered it and said, that partner came to me and said, Henry, I'm done. I spoke with her. I'm out of here.
Yeah. So you didn't have to make a decision. It worked out for itself.
God made that decision for me, and he's gone.
Yeah.
And since that time, the house is stabilized, and we've done, and it's working, and it's moving forward. And God had the plan that that's the person I need to be working with. And it's been a good house so far. So.
Yeah, and people don't understand that demographic that you're working with. So people coming from sober, it's challenging because I've had some sober places too, and realized that that's not what I really wanted to focus on. And the reason, and I still have one, but the reason I kind of moved away from it is because it's he moved my this, or he touched that, so I went away from double room occupancy to single room occupancy, because I do group homes, so I chose not to do that because of the attention you have to have, and having an in-house person in there with them, to me, actually gives them a sense of feeling that they're empowered. And that's what may also help me not decide that I want a person in the house to actually manage the place. So kudos for you. That's a hard demographic. And how do you feel now that you're transitioning from uh, the past split to the sober living? How do you feel the two exit strategies that you have? How do they compare to each other?
Well, that's a good question. I still have the New Orleans property, and that is a strictly pad split.
Mhm.
And we had problems with our partner
Okay.
again, and it was an operator that was operating the property. And so now we were able to get rid of them. We got a new partner in, and the property is stabilizing. And we've got now people in there that are, I don't know if you know anything about pad split, but the first 10 days is not really free. I mean, the tenant still has to pay, but the owner doesn't get any of that rent for the first 10 days.
Mm.
And so we were having a real problem with keeping tenants in there for 10 days.
Oh, wow.
We were turning. We were, and every time they turn, you got to clean the house, you got to clean the property, you got to clean the room. And so so we got rid of that partner. Now we got a new one. It's stabilizing. And it is a model that it seems to be working in that area. But the real difference, I think, to answer your question, the real difference is pad split, there really is no commonality, no common thread, right? Whereas sober living, these men are coming in for clarity. They're coming in from a treatment center. They need clarity. They need a place to live. They need to have rules. They need to have things that makes them a group, right? Because a lot of these men, and it's my property is only men at the moment, and they don't have this clarity.
Okay.
And so you have to have a person in there. And yes, and it's a 12-step program. It's AA, very religious. But I mean, you don't have to be religious to be in the home,
Right.
right? But you have to follow the steps. And I think the commonality there is obviously the men are coming out of a treatment center. They have things to talk about, and there's more of a bonding that's going on in that home than as opposed to a pad split.
Okay.
And I think those are the real differences.
So you got more stricter rules, more things for them to follow. They need to be signed up in a treatment program, and you need to actually be having them check in and check out with you. Is that
Absolutely.
what you're doing now?
Absolutely. These
Okay.
these people are, again, I talk about the clarity. Clarity is kind of an interesting word, because when you're thinking about a confused mind, confused minds, they don't move forward, right? Because they're confused. They don't have the clarity of what is next. How am I going to feed myself? How am I going to put a roof over my head? Where's my job? Those are the clarities that people struggle with and can't move forward with. And so in the sober living, I think that is a real important aspect, that you have this clarity. You have the understanding that, you know what, don't worry about your driver's license right now. I mean, some of these men don't have driver's licenses because
Right.
they've lost them, right? I mean,
Right.
they're really struggling. And so the clarity in these homes, I think, really help with that process and breaking the cycle of them going back to drinking again, or using drugs again, or living on the streets. I mean, it's a wonderful program, and I strongly suggest it as an owner and people listening, if you're going to buy and convert a home to sober living, you must have an operator that knows what they're doing.
Mhm.
I mean,
That's
that's a
that's
partner.
good. Yeah,
It's a
that's good
partnership
information.
that you have to have.
Yeah.
And If you don't have somebody that's a partner and believes in what they're doing and how they're doing it, the wheels are going to fall off, and it'll
Right.
fall off
Yeah.
quickly.
So do you use any apps like One Step or anything like that, or you
Yes, absolutely, and,
okay.
and we do use One Step. Good plug.
Yeah.
Are you affiliate with them? Because
I,
you got some bonus points there, buddy.
no. I'm not an affiliate or anything. I use One Step with my the last place. We got a few. We transitioning out, and we're going to turn that place into
Yes.
just individual room rentals, and that's the last room place that we have with double room occupancy. Uh, and I get it. Some people want to stay with this double room occupancy because of the income spread. The income spread is much higher than going to single room. Will I do double room in the future? Yes, I will. But right now, it's just taking a toll on me, and I just don't want to do double room anymore.
I get
Uh,
it. I get it.
so
Yeah.
so but it's good that you have things like that in place and it's important and I wanted to get that out because people who are hearing this may say I want to do sober living but they need to know what steps are involved and what challenges they're gonna have because it's not all roses so there are some challenges that they're gonna face and they need to be prepared for those challenges and
Yes.
some of the things that need to be in place for them.
Absolutely. I mean, the easy part is the buying the house, in my opinion. You
Yes.
can buy homes all day long, right?
Yeah.
And then, you can underwrite them, you can find out the numbers are all rosy, whatever. But it's the operations. It's where the tire meets the road. And that's where you gotta have a good operator and you have to have a relationship. And I strongly suggest this, have a relationship with this operator before you go into business with them.
Mm,
Know what they do. Go look at their properties. Go see what they're doing. Understand what their 12-step program looks like and get a feel and a comfort level before you go into partnership and start buying homes and not being able to get this work. But one step, that program you mentioned, um, the benefit behind that as well is you're keeping your KPIs. You're looking at it. Well, for one, it's all digital too, which is, if you're in this world today, it's everything is digital. Paper,
right,
it gets scanned, it's
right.
digital. And so now you can look at what's going on in the house, how many are in there, and you can share that with other treatment centers
Mhm.
and say, this is what our program is. This is what we're doing. This is how many men we have, and this is our success rate, and blah, blah, blah. And so that gives comfort to other treatment centers and saying, okay, they seem to know what they're doing and they're pulling in the right direction.
Right, right. So are you you just right now just focusing on just getting the places that you have converted over to sober. So in that process, with the properties that you have, the one in Pepsi and other places, what are your future goals with those properties? Are you converting those into sober as well, or are you just going,
That's a real good question. At the beginning of the year, my wife and I were thinking that we were going to be um, really expanding and
mm,
getting, like, I mean, 200 homes. I mean, literally, that was our vision for the next 5 years. 200 homes, and we were going to help 1,500 people.
mm,
Okay. And the vision really hasn't changed in a sense of helping 1,500 people. The vision now is the 200 homes. Is that very practical? Is
mm,
that, can you sustain? I mean, 200 homes, just think of the operations that you would have to be maintaining licenses, or not licenses, but taxes and roofs and air conditionings and, flooring. I mean, it gets unmanageable, right? So our thought is today is going towards a transitional living center. That's what
mm.
I'm calling it, at least.
Yeah.
But it's essentially a retirement. Think of it as an assisted living facility that
Mm,
has maybe 50 or 60 rooms. But in that facility, you have conference rooms, you have a kitchen, you have things in that facility to be able to maintain and manage uh, 200, 300 people, because if you're double occupying, and you're making rooms and so forth, but now you also have maybe one wing is for women and another wing is for men, and maybe, so it's the economy of scale. You're
Right.
bringing that into one place. And I
Right.
think that's where we're heading. And the operations, I met a lady in Fort Worth that does just this. And I mean, she bought this property. It was a seller finance,
Mm.
and she paid $50,000 for it. And she has 89 people in there right now,
Oh,
men and
wow.
women.
Wow.
They cook for themselves. Their churches around there donate food. I mean, it's a well organized routine, and it's flourishing. And they had
Mm.
like a waiting list of 40 people
Oh,
that
wow.
I talked to them. So
Wow.
I mean, if there's anything that works, it works in that location. And I think that's what I want to at least think about going
Mm.
forward next year.
Yeah, because that is a lot. You figure you got 200 homes, 200 roofs, 200 furnaces, 200 toilets. You can cut that down to one single room, one single roof, and you can still put the same amount of people in, two different places. If you can get places big enough, it can actually work out great for you. So
Yeah,
I'm leaning towards that same way. I'm looking at motels, old motels where I can actually convert over. Thought I had one, 113 rooms, but it fell apart. So I'm looking at actually another, this one's I'm sorry, 49 rooms that I'm looking at in Illinois. So I totally agree with you on that as far as trying to get one location you can add multiple different families, or if
yeah.
you do families, you can do families and things like that.
Yes. I mean, you could
So
probably have a wing that
yeah.
has women with children. I mean, that's another demographics that unfortunately they underserved. It
Mm,
really is underserved because you've got women and now you have the child.
mm,
And my gosh, I mean, what do you do with the child if the mother has to go to a doctor's appointment? What
right.
do you do if you have to go to work?
Mm,
Where does that child go? Maybe you have a child care center inside in the facility that
mm,
manages and helps with the kids. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of ideas that you can do under one roof as
mm.
opposed to trying to facilitate 200 homes. It's just
Right.
doesn't seem logical, and
Yeah.
it really
It's a lot of work.
yeah, it's a
So
lot of
so
work.
so if somebody wanted to call following your footsteps and say, okay, I want to do sober living, because sometimes people hear these podcasts and they say, wow, that sounds very interesting. I want to help people. I want to give back. And they wanted to reach out and say, hey, how can you guide me in this way? What would be the first things you would actually tell them to actually start a sober living facility?
Find an operator.
Mm,
Find an operator. Find somebody that's doing this in your area and understand their property. Understand trying to see what their plans might be. Maybe they're handling 35 homes at the moment and they're going freaking crazy. They're
mm,
like, "Oh my God, this is just consuming me all day." The idea of them maybe to consolidate those into a single transitional living center. But the operations, I think, is so important to be able to have the connections with the treatment centers. That's huge.
mm,
And a lot of these treatment centers really don't want to deal with people that are, I'm not an alcoholic. I've never had drug problems myself, thank God. But the people I deal with and the people that have connections, they all have those. They've all been sober
yep,
for,
yeah.
5 or 6 years. They understand and they can talk to these treatment centers. They can understand how to uh, position yourself. So you have to have relationships with those types of people to be
Mhm.
able to think bigger in terms like this. I mean, um, the money, the money aspect, if you have a good idea, I think the money will come. I really do.
Absolutely.
I
I
think
totally
the money
agree.
will come. It's just a matter of trying to get your operations, a relationship with who you're going to be doing business with.
And where would you guide somebody to go find that person uh that you just described? Where would they actually start that process to find that person?
There are homes all over everywhere that have sober living homes today.
Okay.
And there's owners there are all these owners. Go talk to them, or even go talk to the treatment centers. Start with the treatment centers and ask them, where do you send your people?
Hmm.
Where do you when people come out of detox, where do they go next?
Okay.
And that would be probably a good solution.
Hmm.
You're here in the Dallas area. We have uh, you have I'm a little there's probably 20 places
Hmm.
that I have a list of that deal with either men, women coming out of treatment centers. Those are the relationships you need to start with.
Okay.
Those that you got to understand what their needs are. What are the city's needs are? That's another point too. If you're going to start in a city, go talk to the city council people and ask them what their needs are. They may just say that, oh my goodness, yeah, we would love a house like that in here, or no, we don't want houses in here. HOAs are another big issues too in a lot of cities. But sober living is a protected class,
Hmm. I was going there with you.
and sober living is a protected class, so HOAs really can't touch them, but they can make life miserable for you too.
Mhm.
So going to an HOA, if you're going to buy a house and you've got an operator, you're going to make sure the HOA is in the loop. Make
Mhm.
sure the city is in the loop. Because if you don't, what's going to happen is they're just going to make life miserable for you. But if you have a relationship with the city, the HOA, you convince them that, you know what? I've been in a lot of sober living homes,
Mhm.
and they're immaculate
Mhm. Yeah.
because there's rules, there's regulations. They have to be on time, they have to be in bed, they have to be accountable for themselves. So I mean, these places you could literally eat off the floor almost.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just because of the rules and regulations. There's no parties. You can't, there's not going to be a Halloween party or something like that in the
Right.
neighborhood.
Right.
It's going to cause a lot of problems.
Right.
A lot of these men don't have cars.
Mhm.
So you're not dealing with a bunch of traffic or anything like that. But the idea of having a sober living home in an HOA freaks people out
Mhm.
because they're all thinking drug dealers and alcoholics, and yes, they are. They have been, but
Have
they're
been. Yeah.
changing.
Yeah.
God, give them a second chance, and try to understand where they're coming from as opposed to where they've been.
Right.
Now, just where are they going? What's their future? And you can be a part of that future. You can help them
Hmm.
as opposed to looking at their past and judging them. People judge everybody, but
Right.
anyway, getting
So,
on a little bit of a soapbox. Sorry.
right. So somebody listening to this, they gonna say, "Oh man, it must be a lot of licenses I gotta get, license, a lot of things I gotta jump through the hoops, business license, all this stuff I gotta jump through the hoop to get to actually open up a facility." What kind of license do you have? What kind of what kind of procedures did you have to go through with the city to actually open up your place?
Really, it's relatively easy.
Mm.
There are no licenses because we're not providing medical assistance.
Right.
That's the huge hurdle right there. Now, if you have doctors and nurses or assisted living, now you're talking a whole different category. We're talking about men and women coming out of a treatment center that just need a stable place to get clarity in their life,
Mm.
right? And
Yeah.
so the only thing that I strongly would suggest is you don't get a landlord insurance policy
Mm,
like my long-term facility or my long-term um, home in Pensacola. That's just a landlord. I'm a long-term lease, not a big deal. The insurance is pretty straightforward. But in a sober living, it's a commercial license.
mm,
You've got to have a little bit more protection for yourself and for the people inside that home. So that's the only real caveat
mm.
to owning a sober living. There's no other licenses that I need. I mean, it's a regular home. I mean, it's just a bunch of guys living in a home. So, um, but insurance is important, and you really need to be looking at a commercial type insurance.
Okay. So you funding all of this through because you got to factor in your furniture, you furnishing the place, you you buying things, properties that need renovation, or you buying them ready to go? All right.
Well, the pad split we had to actually convert rooms, right?
Mm,
You have to add locks and there's cameras. There's a lot of things in that nature that you got to add to it. The sober living home, since there are no locks, mind you, these are men that are sharing rooms, and there are no locks on the doors
mm,
because they don't want locks on the doors. They want to be able to open the door anytime, any day, and make sure that you're in your bed and you're not doing something that you're not supposed to. Otherwise, you're gone. I mean,
right.
it's quite simple. Now, before I do that, before you know, yeah, you're gone. But if you're caught drinking or you're doing drugs, you got to go back through detox.
Right.
That's the first thing you got to do. Now, if that person is just had a bad day and he got drunk and went to detox, they could come back into the house. I'm not going to kick them and put them in a under a bridge somewhere. That's
Right.
not the intent at all. The intent is to give them the ability to come back into the house. But what was I saying? I'm not
If
sure
there's
what.
what about a fight? Because you was talking about stuff happening in the house and them leaving. So we was talking about the
Oh,
furnishing
furnishing.
and yeah.
Yes, 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 yes. Well, the home in San Antonio, we have to provide furniture and so forth. And the funny thing there is, we have our own specific size beds.
Mm.
They're like 18 inches off the ground. And the reason why we do that is so that you can put totes
Oh,
underneath beds.
underneath. Okay.
Yeah, so you don't have to have so much furniture in there. You have totes, maybe two totes per bed. You have a bureau, you have a lamp, and you have some place to hang your clothes. It may be it may be a closet, but if the closet is too small, we put a rail on the wall itself by the bed so you can hang your clothes. Most of these men don't have a whole lot of clothes, right? I
Mm.
mean, you know, 4 or 5 shirts and pants, and that's about
Right.
all they have, right? And so that's all you have to do is providing in a couch and refrigerators. You've got to keep, a lot of you have to add a few refrigerators. Normally we have probably around three people per fridge. So you try to, you know, yeah, the dining room is full of refrigerators, but and then washer and dryer.
Okay. Yeah, and it's kind of the same setup. I do two people per refrigerator. So if I
Okay.
got a place with six people in it, I'm having three refrigerators in.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just to keep me from going through the
Yeah,
argument.
and it gets if you have 7 men or 8 men living in a house, and I've seen up to 14 men
Yeah,
living in one house. With that many people, you really can't. You got to divide things up a little bit, and you got to make
yeah.
sure cabinet spaces are divided properly. Maybe put a color. I've seen color codes, like
Mm,
yellow is your color. Okay. And so yellow is your fridge, yellow is your whatever, or number them for whatever
right.
that matter. But the point is you divide it and make sure that everybody knows what what to use.
Yeah. That
And cameras. Now,
yeah.
cameras, I mentioned the cameras are obviously not in areas of privacy.
Right.
They're in areas like the kitchen where the most of the problems occur. Um, and they're on the outside of the house as well. But the kitchen is probably the main area where people do dishes and they'll leave it, you
Right.
know. Well, they go to work or they go to a meeting or something, and nobody wants to fess up that he left bowl of something in the sink.
Right.
So you can just literally go back and say, okay, Mr. Henry, you're the one that did this. Fess up, get it done. But if it becomes a problem, though, now
Right.
you
Right.
can address it.
Yeah.
You can address it, and you address problems quickly. You
Yeah.
don't fester. You have to address them. You have to make the conversation. And that's where you get a good house manager.
Mhm.
He addresses those issues quickly.
Yeah.
If there's an elephant in the room, deal with it.
So when you go to set up a new place, you got a new home, you just finished furnishing it for the guys to come in. What does your marketing look like to actually start filling up your house? Is that all on the your partner for them to handle that part of it, or is it something you guys do collectively?
It is my partner. It's the
Okay.
operations, and that's where a key is. That's the key. To have the operations have relationships with your treatment centers,
Hmm.
because where are these men coming from? They're going to be coming from these locations, and if you get blacklisted, and I mean, if you do something wrong, and you got to fall on the sword, and you got to apologize, and you got to
Hmm.
make sure that because like anything else, it becomes a real small community.
It is.
Once you're in that community and people know you and people either, they like you and they trust you, it's it's word of mouth. It
Right.
really is. Uh, when people talk about Henry Demers, oh yeah, I know him. I talked to him. Oh yeah, he's a nice guy.
Hmm.
And it's not that I'm trying to be overly nice. I'm a giver. I
Right.
that's one of the things that's my credo, I guess, if you want to call it, is to give. And
Hmm.
I want to give more than I want to receive, because I know it's a God thing, right? I
Right.
mean, if you give,
Hmm.
it's abundantly comes back to you.
Right.
So um, I'm a giver, and
Hmm.
and when I talk to people, talk to you. I want to give. I want to give advice. I want to help people,
Hmm.
as opposed to just trying to keep my cards at my say. Well, I don't want to give you my trade secrets. Well, my goodness, there's so much opportunity out there for everyone to help other
Absolutely.
people,
Absolutely.
and it's only going to get. I hate to say this, or I don't want to be doom and gloom, but the point is, we're going into you know the economy is not moving in an area that's going to be real helpful for a lot of people.
Right. It's going
And,
to be a
and
lot
there's
of
going to be a
people
lot
that
of
need
need. There's a
assistance.
lot
Yeah.
of need out there.
Yeah.
And so we need to help people. We need to be at the front of that line helping individuals.
So, so I want to get started in this. I come up to you and say, Henry, I want to get started. I got about probably $3,000, $4,000. I need to get a property and I need to furnish it, but I don't have the money. How are you funding your properties now?
That's a really good question. And I'm not sure I really have a good answer for you. Donald, I'm fortunate enough
Hmm.
that I've had a lot of savings,
Hmm.
and my wife and I have done well. I mean, I've spent 50 years in the corporate world, and my wife still has her W-2. So we've done very well in that respect, and we've been able to use our own money, but that's going to run out.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
mean, I'm not going to be able to buy, a $3 or $4 million facility out of cash, right?
Right.
And so you've got to start thinking creative financing, and
Hmm.
you've got to think of seller financing, and you've got to be thinking. how I'm going to do this in the future. And that's where we're at right now. But,
Okay.
if there's I'm going to give another plug here for a book that I just finished reading. If people that are watching this, if you're not reading at least 15 or 20 minutes a day, you need to be. You
Mm.
need to start reading and understanding how money comes from, just start reading things. And the book that I'm going to tell you, Cody Sanchez. Have you ever heard of her?
No.
Cody Sanchez. I actually just finished her book it's on my desk. It's called Main Street Millionaire. And she's getting a big plug on this, and I'm not getting an affiliate of this, but it talks about ordinary businesses and how to
Hmm.
get capital and how to how to make things happen with very little money.
Okay.
And so those are the kind of books that you really should be reading and understanding because there's so many great ideas out there on how to get money. And it doesn't take a lot of money to do these types of businesses. But I think if you had a good project and you had a property under contract and you had a good operator, talking to your neighbors, your friends, your family on your idea, people are going to they're going to trust you
Hmm.
and they're going to want to give you, maybe it's not going to be a lot of money at first, but you know what? It's going to be some way of getting that what I call OPM, which is other
Right.
people's monies, right? Um, but it's hard to do. It
Hmm.
really is. And anybody watching this it's not an easy process. I mean,
Right. Right.
it's asking for other people, for their money and to give them to you to do what you're doing. You got to be, I think, frankly, you got to be godly
Hmm.
and you have to be um, sincere of what you're doing, and you got to have an understanding of what you're trying to accomplish. And I
And,
think people will join you.
and I think good work ethics also.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you
Yeah.
just got to be a good person, yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe forget about your past because we all have pasts.
Right.
We've all done things that we probably shouldn't have, when we were 20s and 30s. But today I'm a very different person. And today
Yeah.
I'm looking at it at a very different approach. And I try to get people to, um, just know me
Hmm.
and have a relationship with me and understand where I'm coming from. So um, it'll work. I'm trusting a lot in the universe and where I'm going.
Okay. That's great. So Henry, let me ask you this, and I'm gonna get off and let you get on with your day. But this is one thing I always, because sometimes I miss. It's two questions I want to ask. One is, what would you tell the 15-year-old Henry 15 years ago? What would you have told yourself to do in this space 15 years ago?
Oh, wow. Great question. I'm not sure how to answer that. I mean, of course, hindsight's always 2020,
Right.
but 15 years ago, I was definitely in a dead end job. Well, not a dead end job. I was in a job,
Mhm.
job, right?
Right.
And um not really liking the corporate world, but I had to be there because um I had a pension on the line.
Mhm.
And very few companies today have pensions, but that particular company had a pension and it was worth something to me. So I had to stick it out. I had to, you know, figure it out. But,
Right.
15 years ago, my gosh, had I known about creative financing, sub to seller finance, there's so many creative ways to purchase properties. I would have been I would have been actually I would have probably been telling my own children to not go to college, but to get a freaking business and start their own company.
Mm.
Probably what I
Mm.
would have been
Wow,
doing.
that's powerful. That is powerful. And you know, nowadays, younger people are leaning towards that way that they don't want to go to college. So 15 years ago, your children would have took that advice. They would have been much.
Now in hindsight, I'm looking at my kids. My oldest son has an economics degree. He has a finance degree. He has actually a law degree.
Mm,
And what is all that education and that expense
yeah,
helping him today? I mean, we can go into that later, but the point is, I think 15 years ago, I may have told him, look at me where I'm at today in a cubicle for 25 years. My knees are feeling cruddy. I have back problems because I'm dying in this cubicle.
mm,
Go get a job. Go find a job. There's a tsunami of of businesses coming online today that people are retiring
mm,
and they're wanting to get out of their business. A lot of them will just turn their businesses and just shut the door and walk away.
yes,
And there are so many people, there's so many opportunities out there. Cody Sanchez, I'm telling you, talks about this a lot. And if I were to tell somebody 15, if they were read this damn book and start doing your own, start get a business
right,
and,
right.
and get a business and start helping and going that direction as opposed to spending. I know it's part of growing up. College, I get it. It is part of it. But going through the military is part of it too. And I
Mm,
recommend anybody going through military and learning those things that dedicate yourself and gets you clarity and how to do things precisely. That's what Army's all about. But anyway, what's your
mm.
second question? I'm sorry.
So, there's a question that I probably didn't ask that didn't bring up some information that you may have want the audience, that's people that's listening to this, to have known. What would be something that I didn't ask that you would want people to know?
Uh, you know, I don't know. I think you've asked. I mean, you were pretty good about it. I mean, I think you asked some good questions.
Thank you.
Um, I mean, you and I don't know each other that well,
Mm,
right? I mean,
right.
we just met just the other day, so
Yeah.
it's been an honor to be on your show or
Thank
your
you. Thank you.
podcast. I do really appreciate that. But I think I've kind of said everything and I don't have any other questions or any other advice. I mean, if somebody wants to come to me and talk to me about sober living or anything for that matter, again, I'll be more than willing to share information with them.
Mm,
That's just the way I am. So,
mhm.
and I'm not going to charge a fee.
You're
It's all free,
right.
buddy. This is free advice,
Yeah.
Do what you
So
want.
So tell people how to find you and what social media platforms you're on if they wanted to stay in touch with you.
Well, I do have an Instagram account. I post every day. That's part of one of my challenges is we've been challenged to post every day on Instagram. And oh, I don't know what the Instagram account is. I have to look it up. I think it's HDEMS real estate. Real estate. I think that's what it is. HDEMS real estate. So I
Okay.
think that's what it is.
On
But
Instagram.
yeah, it's Instagram. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna follow you on Instagram, and then if, once we get this all put together and do all the editing, I'm going to put it in the show notes how to reach out to you on Instagram, and those of you all who see this also follow Henry. Let's get his following up as well.
Well, that would
So
be great. I mean, I'm
yeah,
also on Facebook
yeah.
and all of that. But yes, that would be wonderful. I do silly things on Instagram, but I also do some serious. I talk about some serious things too,
Yeah.
particularly sober living. So
Okay. So I wanted you guys to do me a favor, like, share, and follow. If you found this information very helpful, I want to thank Henry for being on today, and look forward to you guys on the next one.
If you want to hear more stories and tips about real estate, foreclosure, and private lending insights, hit like and subscribe now.